ever Harry Potter book. Oh, you're glad. Good, I'm glad. So it's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And the piece I'm going to read is Harry Potter, if you don't know, and some people don't know. I'm going to take these off. Harry Potter has just discovered he's a wizard. He has been informed this by Hagrid, who's a giant man who lives at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, who's taken him shopping for all the things he'll need when he goes off to boarding school as a wizard. And so this is the last and most exciting thing that Harry gets to buy. The last shop was narrow and shabby. Peeling gold letters over the door read, Ollivanders, makers of fine wands since 382 BC. A single wand lay on a faded purple cushion in the dusty window. A tinkling bell rang somewhere in the depths of the shop as they stepped inside. It was a tiny place, empty except for a single spindly chair that Hagrid sat on to wait. Harry felt strangely as though he had just entered a very strict library. He swallowed a lot of new questions that had just occurred to him and looked instead at the thousands of narrow boxes piled neatly right up to the ceiling. For some reason, the back of his neck tingled. The very dust and silence in here seemed to tingle with some secret magic. Good afternoon, said a soft voice. Harry jumped. Hagrid must have jumped too, because there was a loud crunching noise, and he got quickly off the spindly chair. An old man was standing before them, his wide, pale eyes shining like moons through the gloom of the shop. Hello, said Harry awkwardly. Ah, yes, said the man. Yes, yes. I thought I'd be seeing you soon. Harry Potter. It wasn't a question. You have your mother's eyes. It seems only yesterday she was in here herself buying her first wand. 10 1/4 inches long, swishy, made of willow. Nice wand for charm work. Mr. Ollivander moved closer to Harry. Harry wished he would blink. Those silvery eyes were a bit creepy. Your father, on the other hand, favoured a mahogany wand. 11 inches, pliable, a little more power and excellent for transfiguration. Well, I say your father favoured it. It's really the wand that chooses the wizard, of course. Mr. Ollivander had come so close that he and Harry were almost nose to nose. Harry could see himself reflected in those misty eyes. And that's where... Mr. Ollivander touched the lightning scar on Harry's forehead with a long white finger. I'm sorry to say I sold the wand that did that, he said softly. 13 1/2 inches. You. Powerful wand, very powerful. And in the wrong hands, well, if I'd known what that wand was going out into the world to do. He shook his head. And then, to Harry's relief, spotted Hagrid. Rubeus Hagrid, how nice to see you again. Oak, 16 inches, rather bendy, wasn't it? It was, sir, yes, said Hagrid. Good wand, that one. But I suppose they snapped it in half when you got expelled, said Mr. Ollivander, suddenly stern. Yes, they did, yes, said Hagrid, shuffling his feet. I've still got the bits, though, he added brightly. But you don't use them, said Mr. Ollivander sharply. Oh, no, sir, said Hagrid quickly. Harry noticed he gripped his pink umbrella very tightly as he spoke. Said Mr. Ollivander, giving Hagrid a piercing look. Well now, Mr. Potter, let me see. He pulled a long tape measure with silver markings out of his pocket. Which is your wand arm? Well, I'm right-handed, said Harry. Hold out your arm, that's it. He measured Harry from shoulder to finger, then wrist to elbow, shoulder to floor, knee to armpit, and round his head. As he measured, he said, every Ollivander wand has a core of a powerful magical substance, Mr. Potter. We use unicorn hairs, phoenix tail feathers, and the heartstrings of dragons. No two Ollivander wands are the same, just as no two unicorns, dragons, or phoenixes are quite the same. And of course, you will never get such good results with another wizard's wand. Harry suddenly realized that the tape measure, which was measuring between his nostrils, was doing this on its own. Mr. Ollivander was flitting around the shelves, taking down boxes. That will do, he said, and the tape measure crumpled into a heap on the floor. Right then, Mr. Potter, try this one. Beechwood and dragon heartstring, 9 inches, nice and flexible. Just take it and give it a wave. Harry took the wand and, feeling foolish, waved it around a bit, but Mr. Ollivander snatched it out of his hand almost at once. Maple and phoenix feather, 7 inches, quite whippy. Try? Harry tried, but he had hardly raised the wand when it too was snatched back by Mr. Ollivander. No, no. Here, ebony and unicorn hair, 8.5 inches, springy. Go on, try it out. Harry tried and tried. He had no idea what Mr. Ollivander was waiting for. The pile of tried wands was mounting higher and higher on the spindly chair, but the more wands Mr. Ollivander pulled from the shelves, the happier he seemed to become. Tricky customer, eh? Not to worry, we'll find the perfect match here somewhere. I wonder now. Yes, why not? Unusual combination. Holly and phoenix feather, 11 inches, nice and supple. Harry took the wand. He felt a sudden warmth in his fingers. He raised the wand above his head, brought it swishing down through the dusty air, and a stream of red and gold sparks shot from the end like a firework, throwing dancing spots of light onto the walls. Hagrid whooped and clapped, and Mr. Ollivander cried, "Oh, bravo! Yes, indeed! Oh, very good! Well, well, well! How curious! How very curious!" He put Harry's wand back into its box and wrapped it in brown paper, still muttering, "Curious, curious." "Sorry," said Harry, "but what's curious?" Mr. Ollivander fixed Harry with his pale stare. "I remember every wand I've ever sold, Mr. Potter, every single wand. It so happens that the phoenix whose tail feather is in your wand gave another feather, just one other. It is very curious indeed that you should be destined for this wand when its brother, why, its brother gave you that scar." Harry swallowed. "Yes, 13.5 inches, you. Curious indeed how these things happen. The wand chooses the wizard, remember. I think we must expect great things from you, Mr. Potter. After all, he who must not be named did great things. Terrible, yes, but great." Harry shivered. He wasn't sure he liked Mr. Ollivander too much. He paid 7 gold galleons for his wand, and Mr. Ollivander bowed them from his shop. Thank you. So you can ask me some questions now if you would like to. And you were the very first with your hand in the air. You can get my autograph, but not right now, because I might get knocked off my chair. So at the end, you can definitely have my autograph. Yes. Am I thinking about making a spin-off of Harry Potter, like Neville Longbottom and the Cup of Doom or something? No, I'm not really. I always plan 7 Harry Potter books, and at the moment, that's where I'm planning to stick. I'm not going to say never. I've always said that when I'm asked that question, because I think that in 10 years' time, I might want to do something else with Harry's World, but at the moment, I have no plans to do that. Yes. Who is my favorite Harry Potter character? It changes a lot, and I don't think I could choose just one, but I think apart from Harry, Ron, and Hermione, who I love to pieces, I love Hagrid, I love Dumbledore, I love Lupin. Yes, that's right. And I loved Snape, because I loved writing Snape. I wouldn't want to meet him, but I really liked writing about him. He was fun. At the back. Yeah.
On your Twitter, you said you've been busy writing?
Yes, I have. I had to tweet twice in my life. Do you know why? Because people were tweeting and pretending to be me. So people said, well, why don't you, do it as the genuine you? So every 6 months, I write things like, I am still writing. So yes, that I am writing, but I'm not yet ready to tell you what I'm writing, but I'm enjoying writing, yes. I wrote this book. That's not the first time, but the best question ever was, this book was just published, and I went to a school, and halfway through me doing questions and answers, a boy said, "Oh, did you write that?" And then his teacher said, "Ask her a question." And he said, "What's your favorite color?" So I said, and then he said, "What's your favorite animal?" And about 10 questions of what's your favorite, and the teacher said, "Okay, be quiet now, Billy." Let's see. Right over there in the sunglasses. Yeah, can you shout? My favorite Harry Potter book is the 7th one. Yeah, I definitely like the 7th one best. Yeah. Although this one, of course, has a very special place in my heart because it was the first thing I ever had published. So I do love this one too. Yes. How did I get the idea to write Harry Potter? I think, that's a question that authors find very difficult to answer because although sometimes you do look at something and it makes you think of something else and it's very difficult to work out where it really came from. I know I was looking at some cows. Literally, I was looking out of a train window and some cows went by and I thought, boy doesn't know he's a wizard, goes to wizard school. So I don't know. Yes. Yeah. I need you to really shout. I can't hear that one. Would I rather have Dobby or Winky be my house elf? I definitely don't want a house elf. I think they're a little bit creepy. Although they would be useful in a way when I've got housework to do, I think I would find it exceptionally creepy to have a house elf. So I would rather they were all free. So if a house elf was in my house, I would immediately give it clothes and say, have fun, go. Yes. I need you to really shout, sorry. Oh, good question. Other than Harry, who was the next character I thought of for the books? I think, funnily enough, it was Hermione. When I originally planned the book, it began very, very differently. And it had, you saw the explosion of the Potter house, and a neighbor ran to try and help, and that neighbor was Hermione's father. So when I very first planned it, Hermione remembered Harry as the baby, or Hermione remembered her father talking about the baby who was pulled out of the rubble, you see. So, but that all changed over the 7 years I wrote. Yes. Really shout at me.
What's your favorite subject that the teachers taught?
What was my favorite subject when I was at school? Oh, in the books. Which is my favorite subject? Well, the most fun to write was actually charms, because a lot can go wrong with charms. You know, when Harry and Ron in particular was often making mistakes in charms, and Professor Flitwick, there was always something quite funny about that tiny little teacher being sent shooting across the classroom all the time. So I quite liked writing that. But potions was fun too. I enjoyed making up the potions. And Defense Against the Dark Arts was also fun because every year you had a new teacher. So yes, for the older members of the audience, they will remember the Spinal Tap drummer. And some of you do, clearly. Well, when I planned the books, I thought every year we'll have a different Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, because the job was cursed, as you know. Oh, we've got excellent questions now. In the very beautiful multicolored, yes, top there. Really shout. That's right. This is a good life lesson for you. You must never read everything you read in believe everything you read in the papers. And people can sometimes be less than truthful. It is true. This is a question about where I got the name Harry Potter. It is true that when I was probably your age, we had some neighbors whose surname was Potter. And I always liked their surname a lot. I never liked my own surname because Rowling is far too easy to make jokes about. So all through school, I had people go to Rolling Stones, Rolling Pin, the theme from Rawhide being sung at me. So I thought Potter sounded such a nice name. However, it is not true that I based Harry Potter on anyone in that family. So, let's see. Yes. You've got them all, but your How old are you now? You're only 5. I'm sure you haven't read them yet, have you?
No, I'm on the 4th book.
Ah, very good. That's very, very good reading. Right, I've been told I just 2 more questions now. So I'm going to take very desperate girl in the green t-shirt at the front.
Our family loved your books so much that we named our dog Dobby.
You named your dog Dobby. Please tell me he doesn't look like Dobby, because that would be so creepy. Dobby's quite creepy just standing up. Imagine him on all 4s. And now the last one, I'm going to say, yes, you're here.
Do you want to write any other books besides Harry Potter?
Do I want to write other books apart from Harry Potter? Yes, I do, and I am. Yes. So I have written some other things, and I'm quite enjoying taking a break from being published, but I'm sure that sometime in the not too distant future I will bring out another book, and it won't be Harry, yeah. Listen, thank you so much. Really great questions. Thank you.